Hey guys, Baumhardt here. So for today's video, I'm doing something a little bit different. I've just got this scrap of 80 CRV2, 2 inches wide, 3/16 of an inch thick. Not even sure how long it is, but I'm going to make this into a knife. Just gonna sort of wing it, kind of do a as I go design. I got a couple ideas, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, just having a little time for myself in the forge, kind of making what I want to make and doing what I want to do. So what I am doing right now is doing some sort of Full-Tang knife. Unlike what I usually do, I'm going to start with the handle and work my way towards the blade. So we'll see what happens, we'll see how it goes. So on this piece of steel, it's radiused on one side and a straight cut on the other. So I'm going to just utilize this radiused edge as the spine of the knife. So right now I'm trying to do kind of like a mule's foot type handle, so I'm trying to drive down the end of the what the handle's going to be, and then I'm going to use the horn to further put some curve into that handle. So we're at about 16 3/4 overall. so since we've thinned down this area right here, we're getting that kind of bow like that. So I'm gonna go back in, hammer the spine here, see if we can't straighten that out. Alright, let's get going on doing the point. Right, we got our preformed point set up. Now we'll hammer in our edge bevel here for the tip of the knife. Put that Bowie curve in there. Back up. Alrighty, I think I'm pretty happy with the blade shape. It's got a little bit of a upsweep to it, but I think overall it's got a nice balance and shape. So I think we're just gonna put the maker's mark in there, straighten it out, call it good. Alright, so now we're going to anneal the handle in some vermiculite, soften it up so that I can make sure I get the holes drilled in. Sounds like we're running out of propane as well. Alright, so here's what the blade is looking like. This has all been forged to shape. Did anneal the handle and drill out a couple pinholes and a lanyard hole. Next step we're going to do is just clean up the profile just a little bit, especially in the handle. Kind of sharpen up the shoulders here for where the guard is going to go. I think I'm going to do just sort of a very simple disc guard, you know, flat, nothing fancy about it. But I want this shape cleaned up a little bit before I start trying to fit that on there. But overall, real happy with it. It's got a good heft and weight. You know, it feels like a real good chopper. So I'm excited to see how it feels with the handles on there. Blade came out nice and broad, doing all that hammer work on the blade. The blade now is over 2 inches. It's about 2 1/4 inches. It looks like maybe just under 2 1/4 inches. So that's pretty cool. So I got a piece of 1/4 inch thick mild steel. This is what I'm going to use for the guards. I'm just going to taper each end and then cut a slit in the center. So we got the big hump of the end of the tang here through the slit. We're getting hung up on our width here, so we got that marked. So I'm just gonna grind a little more on the tang, thin this down. Alright, so here's what the handle is shaping up like. I'm going to do the final sanding once we get the handle all glued up on there, so we're going to leave it rough as is, but it does feel nice and comfy. Nice palm swell there. You can hold it back here for extra leverage for chopping and whatnot. So we're looking pretty good there. So next thing to do is grind the blade. I'm going to go for a full flat grind, and we'll clean up our guard as well. Probably end up bluing this. Okay, so that last belt was a 150 grit. Just took the platen out, so it's basically a slack belt. So pretty happy with that. I did want to leave some of this forged scale here on the top, you know, give it that forged look. A little bit of a blemish right there. I'll see if I can get that out, and then we'll move on to heat treating. Alright, so I got the forge warming up the oil. We're going to get this to about 9 degrees Fahrenheit at max 120. And we'll get the blade quenched. Alright, so we got the blade tempered, soaked it in vinegar for a couple days, cleaned off with the wire wheel, blued it, blued the guard as well. So pretty happy with the way it's looking. It's got a nice texture to it from the forged finish that got left on there, so we're in good shape there. So we'll just go ahead and weld on the guard and then glue on the handles. Alrighty, well here's a look at the finished Bowie knife. Definitely a really cool blade. I'm really happy with the way this one came out. I was kind of figuring on keeping it for myself, but a friend of mine reached out on Instagram and wanted to buy it, and I said, sure, I'll sell it to you. And especially after these cutting tests, I'm kind of like, gosh, I wish I was keeping this. This is a cool knife. I'm gonna have to make some more like this. This is one of those knives that, like, when I set out knife making, this is the kind of knife that I wanted to make. Doing the whole shape via forging. I don't know. I'm proud of that. Not to toot my own horn. I mean, it's not that great. Wasn't that difficult, you know. But this just slight sweep to the blade is cool, which is, you know, just from hammering on this edge side, and I got extra width, like it's a 2-inch piece of stock, and it's right at 2 1/4. So I got an extra 1/4 inch out of it, but it just really gives it some extra life, and just the way that the forge finish is kind of left there, doing that kind of high saber grind. I was really going for a full flat grind, but just at how thin I had that blade, this is about as high as it needed to be. So I don't know what you would call it. Would you call it a full flat grind? Would you call it a saber grind? Like, you know, is it full flat grind with, you know, this part of the grind and put in with the hammer? I don't know, but really comfortable handle. It got really thin down here by the tang with that wheel, so really thin handle, but really big palm swells as well. So right in here, this center palm swell just locks your hand in, and that works great. So I've got this, you know, I do like the longer handles on knives. So in the way that this kind of, I don't know, mule's foot type shape is, you can grab it back here by this palm swell for real extra reach and leverage for chopping, or if you wanted to get a second hand on there, you can do that way. Like I can get basically, you can't really see, but there's the butt of the knife there sticking out from my hand. So I can really get 2 full hands on this bad boy, which is awesome. So our balance is right at just forward the ricasso, which is cool. You know, so you still get that blade heavy chopping power, but you have enough weight in the hand that this thing feels real easy to wield. You know, our cutting edge right about to the ricasso there is 11 7/8, so almost 12 inches, and then with the ricasso from tip to the guard, to the end of the guard, is 13 inches. Overall, it's 19.5 inches long, handle 6 1/4. Yeah, so, you know, did those cutting tests during the snowstorm. I was planning on trying on getting in the cutting test today. The storm wasn't supposed to hit till a little bit later, but decided to just go ahead and shoot it anyways, because I thought the snow would look cool in slow motion, so hopefully it came out well, and I didn't ruin any of my cameras. You know, this thing handled really well with my hands being wet, because from setting up the test and everything, my hands just got soaking wet. So handled well. I could tell it was a little bit, you know, it was a little bit more difficult to cut with my hands being cold and wet. So good test of me, I suppose. But also the handle, you know, with the palm swell and the shape there, locked in my hand. It wasn't slipping in my hand at all, even though it's got a very slick, smooth handle. Really good slicer, just because of that blade shape, that broad shape, and that long, smooth bevel there. You know, cuts real powerful, cuts real well on the fruit. And that butternut squash, surprisingly, is a really hard fruit. You know, it's quite a bit a tougher cutting material than, say, watermelon. Able to generate good power, and this thing cut like a champ. So on the milk jugs, I tried doing the false edge cuts, kind of in the Bill Bagwell style of Bowie knife fighting. And on one of the cuts, I biffed it pretty bad. And, you know, watching it in slow motion, I guess it's more tough than you might think to get your edge alignment right with that kind of rolling back cut. But the point of those back cuts isn't to slice through something. They're not power cuts. It's a speed cut. And, you know, I didn't cut all the way through the milk jug, but if you are fighting an assailant, it's going to be a real fast, effective cut. So I was just having fun. I don't think anybody's really going to be getting any knife fights with any of my knives, and I kind of hope that they don't. So starting out making this knife, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, so it was kind of fun to forge my way through the process and figure out and just make something that I liked, make something that I wanted to make. So I'm very happy with the way it came out. So in my head, I was kind of calling this the mystery Bowie, but that's a terrible, terrible name. So the model name that I've come up with for this one is the Aquila Bowie. Aquila is Latin for eagle. So in the Latin names of the true eagles, like golden eagles, they're, you know, the first part of their genus is Aquila. So I don't know. There's something about this that just sort of has kind of like a bird of prey feel. Nothing specific, you know, but just the curves and the shape, you know, just something of it. Just, I think the eagle motif just kind of speaks to me. So when it came time to do the sheath, and here's the sheath, I ended up putting on a $50 concho with an eagle on it that Tandy Leather sells. Nothing special, just pure decoration. Doesn't serve any function, but I think it's cool. I like that kind of decoration on knives. And so here is the finished sheath. I did some leather stamping on it just to kind of spice it up. I kind of like the fancier sheaths, not gonna lie. Put a Diablo snap from Tandy on here because I wanted it to be something that could retain. Like if you have this in the backpack or in your car, carrying the knife around, transporting it, it's nice that it's, you know, you don't have to worry about it falling out and cutting anything. So this design of snap I haven't really done in a while, and I did some slits and just ran this piece of snap material through. But you can see it's very difficult to get the knife in and out without slicing your snaps up, so I probably won't do them like this in the future. It does work better when it's one piece of leather and it comes off the belt loop material, but I wanted the belt loop to be broad, you know, for a little bit better support system, so I ended up going with this. So, you know, you can kind of hold that back, but once you clear it, see, I even caught. Once you clear it, it wants to just slice that sheath. So you got to be careful with it. Same with putting it back away. See, I just cut it real good there. But you know, I don't know. Lesson learned. So, but it looks. I think it looks nice. Looks cool. And the guy that's buying it, if he cuts through this, I'll make him another one. Or you can just put a little piece of rawhide or paracord or something through there if he wants to secure. Because you could just take this with the way that's slotted. You could just take this whole snap piece right off. You don't really need it, but it was something I tried. And I also got the lanyard hold there. Some people like to use the lanyard on their knife and on these bigger chopping knives. You know, I can see how that would be a benefit. I typically don't use lanyard holes when I'm doing anything with knives, but you know, this one's got it, and I think it looks cool. It looks good. So, all right. Well, I think I've rambled on enough. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I appreciate you coming along on the ride of building this knife. If you want to get your own custom knife, message me on my Etsy web store. I've got a link in the description box. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. Keep up with my latest and greatest work. So as always, thank you for watching. I appreciate your support. And until next time, be more Viking.